25 years ago, a visit from Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia of Sweden filled the streets of Wilmington.
The monument serves as a symbol for us.
A place so near and dear to Sweden, royalty came in 1938, 1963, 1988, and now 2013. This time, the monarchs are coming to commemorate the establishment of New Sweden 375 years ago.
The colony that was started here weren't people who were running away. It was a sanctioned settlement. It was through the offices of the Queen that this took place.
It was March 1638 when the Kalmar Nickel dropped anchor at the rocks in what is now the city's Fort Christina Park, named after Sweden's queen at the time.
They were here for roughly 17 years with the flag flying. When I say that, the Swedes never left Delaware, but after 1655, they no longer had the Swedish flag flying and they were no longer in control of the colony. It then had become a Dutch colony.
17 years isn't long, but the Swedish footprint remains.
They didn't leave and go home. They stayed here. They owned large chunks of lands, and they weren't going to give up 400, 500, 600 acres worth of land and go back to Sweden. The families were on second and third generations at that point.
All of those, of course, are Swedish ancestors, and it's
Frances Almond brings a new meaning to Delaware native. Not only did her ancestors help build and provide materials for Old Swedes Church, built in the late 17th century, she's also a direct descendant of the original Swedish settlers.
I go back to the Stedhams, the Springers, the Hendrickson, the Stillies, and the Stillies, of course, came from Stockholm, Sweden, also in the early 1600s. But the Kalmar Nickel is particularly of interest simply because my earliest and oldest ancestor came over on that ship.
This is a replica of the original.
It's pretty awesome to think that, yes, I did have a relative who really did come over on that ship, and that the heritage is there.
The tall ship's crew is hard at work, readying it for the royals.
This is going to be our opportunity for the first time ever to bring the recreation of the Kalmar Nickel to the rocks at Fort Christina Park and tie her up to the rocks just as the original ship was in 1638.
The reenactment is one of many events scheduled for the King and Queen's visit, which includes a lunch with the governor and Carla Markel, who happens to be a Swede.
My father's mother, my grandmother, came over from Sweden in 1912. She was born in Sweden. She was one of 6 kids, and her parents decided they wanted to start a new life in America. From my perspective and my own heritage, the only one I'm absolutely sure of is the Swedish side, so I've always connected with it the most.
Born in Stockholm, her husband's job brought Jenny Powell to Delaware.
It's kind of exciting to hear all that, the old history, how our forefathers came here, and it's exciting.
She's lived in Delaware now for 14 years and owns Something's Unique, a furniture store in Greenville. For Jenny, it's very important her children learn Swedish and embrace their roots.
It's part of who I am, part of who they are. It's important, I think, so when we go back, they can understand the language and talk to everyone, and it's our heritage.
Powell's children keep up with Swedish traditions like St. Lucia Day, the Festival of Lights, and her kids will also be there when the King and Queen come.
The kids are going to welcome them as they disembark from the Kalmar Nickel, the big ship. So I'm very excited to have them here, have a little part of Sweden come for a visit.
To be able to sit in a room with them and to know that they're eating dinner while I'm eating dinner is very special.
Swedish or not, the royal visit is a pretty big deal.